And now your man,
Donovan Sharpe.
What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to the 492nd episode of TSR Live. Happy Friday, everyone. It is July 19, 2019. The weekend is finally here. I know a lot of you guys are looking forward to the weekend. I certainly know that I am. Make sure you stay safe out there. Don't drink and drive, and always wrap up if you get her home. As always, we are streaming live to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So wherever you are watching, however you are accessing the show, thank you very much for making the Sharpe Reality Live a part of your daily routine. Later on in the show, I'm going to tell you guys two extremely clever ways women like to lie that even red pill aware men are unaware of. So you'll definitely want to stick around for that. But I'm going to start with discussing something we have all had experience with, and that is a terrible boss. Guys, we've all had bosses who had no business being in charge of anything, much less a team of employees. Now, maybe your boss is always late. Maybe your boss doesn't have good work ethic. Maybe they have no idea what they're doing. Maybe they got the job because the owner owed a favor to somebody, or maybe she's a woman. But for whatever reason, they are terrible at their jobs. There is one common denominator that I have personally noticed that most bad bosses have, and that is the inability to perform the tasks that are assigned to their subordinates. In other words, they can't do the jobs they're paid to supervise. Now, the main reason this happens is because companies engage in a practice known as hiring off the street, which means hiring a supervisor who is not already employed with the company. Now, there is one distinct advantage to hiring off the street, and that is when you do hire an outsider off the street who hasn't worked for the company for the last 10 years, you're not concerned with the relationships that they form with the other employees over the years. When you promote from within, you run the risk of the new supervisor or the team lead or whatever you want to call the new leader not being as effective because his friends are now his subordinates. He's in charge of them now. And better than 9 times out of 10, those friendships don't change because of that person's promotion. And because of that, maybe the new boss isn't quite as forthcoming about expectations. Maybe the new boss is not as quick to reprimand job performance. Maybe the new boss, gives second and third chances. So I can certainly understand a company wanting to avoid alliances between team members and team leaders to avoid lack of accountability. However, a huge drawback to hiring an outsider to a leadership position is that they have no idea how to do the job of the team they oversee. I've worked for supervisors at warehouses that had zero clue how to operate a forklift, no clue how to operate a reach truck, never ridden a pallet jack, never operated a cherry picker, none of that stuff, never been on heavy equipment in their entire lives. Now, I've also had sales supervisors who were crappy salespeople who had little to no experience actually being in the trenches, being on the sales floor, being on the car lot, right? In the trenches with the sales. And they had no idea how to handle a high-pressure, fast-paced, boiler room sales environment. No idea. They freeze like a deer in the headlights. Now, some guys might say, okay, Donovan, I get that, right? I get that it can be annoying to have a supervisor who doesn't really know anything, but that seems to be the norm. So why is that a huge problem? We know bosses can be inept, but what else is new? Tell me something I don't already know. Well, I'll tell you. The warehouse supervisor who has no idea how to operate a forklift, a reach truck, cherry picker, or the clamps, he expects you to pull 250 cases an hour. And those of you, people in my audience who have had experience with warehouse jobs, you guys know what I'm talking about. Let's say the company average is 86. But your new supervisor hired off the street came in wanting to increase production and impress his bosses. So what does he do? He sets unrealistic expectations, not knowing that kind of production, 250 cases an hour, is physically impossible. And if he had any experience actually doing the job, he would know this. That team lead in the sales department who couldn't sell an air conditioning unit in Arizona, he wants your closing percentage to be 67% because he doesn't realize that customers have the internet too. And because of this, that gives them much more information, making them far less susceptible to the cheesy closing techniques and sales techniques that he read in some salesman's handbook when he was hired. Supervisors that are inept always have unrealistic expectations for their employees, and it's simply because they have no idea how to do the job. But more importantly, they don't know how to facilitate or contribute to the success of their employees. They just say, here, do this. I'll be in my office waiting for the results. Gentlemen, we know that women have unreal expectations of men. We talk about them all the time. Girls want a guy who has got chiseled abs. Girls want a guy who's got a square jaw with a 5 o'clock shadow, who stands at 6'3", makes 6 figures, and has a 6-foot dong. They feel entitled to these high-value men simply because they're women and no other reason. Now, if that particular woman were young, beautiful, and a virgin, who had domestic skills and wanted to start a family rather than pursuing a useless career, she would be entitled to men like this. But as we all know, these women don't exist. Well, guess what, guys? The pendulum swings both ways on this one. We got guys who complain and moan about how women suck, about how women lie and cheat, about how women can't cook, about how women aren't wife material anymore, and on and on and on. And the vast majority of men who complain the loudest don't have themselves together. A lot of these men who complain are overweight, they're lazy, they have no drive, no goals, and they're just happy floating through life without any sort of motivation or direction. But then they want to go online and bitch and complain about how they want hot, young, virginal girls. Oh yeah, well guess what, Donovan? I'm not overweight. I have a job and a car and I don't live with my parents. Newsflash, skinny fat is just as bad as being fat. Your $15 an hour data entry job barely makes you enough money to save up for that junk bucket that's in the shop every other week, and living with 3 loser roommates can sometimes be worse than living with your parents. So you guys can miss me with that, well, I'm not a total loser BS agreement or a BS argument, because that doesn't entitle you to anything either. But men who have themselves together, men who bust their asses at the gym every day, men who have goals, men who have their financial house in order, who wake up trying to think of another way to dominate life, those are the men who deserve the best women out there. Now, what these guys also have in common is that they clearly understand that even the best of red pill relationships are not what they were 50, 60 years ago. Wannabe red pill guys say things like, well, she better come home, make my dinner, clean the house, give me head, make me a sandwich, and give me that booty and do it all again tomorrow. Red meat. Guys like myself, gentlemen, have high standards, and we demand our woman's best at all times. We require our women to be fit. We require them to be feminine, obedient, loyal, and transparent. And if she does not uphold her end of the bargain, she's out the door. By the same token, we also understand that we, too, have to uphold our end of the bargain. And I'm not just talking about having our shit together. That's a given. We already know what's expected of us. We know what's expected from our women and of ourselves. No. What I'm talking about is facilitating your woman's success as your girlfriend or wife. A lot of men out there are wondering why their wives and girlfriends aren't having sex with them as much as they want to. They're wondering why she's not making as much of an effort to look good for them these days. They're confused as to why they get reluctant starfish duty sex once a week. Well, part of that reason is something that most men are grossly unaware of, and that is they are simply not upholding the male end of the bargain. Guys, we can bitch and moan about what women don't do, but as men, we are the leaders. You are in charge of your woman. You are responsible for her safety. You are responsible for her mental and physical well-being. And most of all, you are responsible for the cultivation and subsequently the preservation of her femininity and all of the qualities that drew you to her in the first place. Red pill aware or not, a lot of men out here are like those supervisors who get hired off the street and have no clue as to what's necessary to bring out the best in their employees. They're outsiders and don't really know what makes a woman tick, what motivates her to be the best woman she can be. He thinks that all he has to do is come in with a red pill alpha mindset and she'll just fall in line. Guys, I'm here to tell you it's never that simple. Men are lazy, and that's why they're not doing what it takes to uphold their end of the bargain, and that's what I'm going to talk about here in this first segment. So let's get to it. Your job as a man, in terms of being in a sexual relationship with a woman, physically protect your woman, reduce her stress, make all of the important decisions, protect her from herself, and make her feel desired. What do all of those things have in common? Well, I'll tell you, all of these things relax your woman. And when your woman is relaxed, she will do whatever you want, both in and out of bed. You're not upholding your end of the bargain, and that's why you're not getting laid. You're unable to physically protect her, or you're giving the impression that if shit got real, you couldn't do it if you had to. You're not reducing her stress. You're asking her too many questions, putting too much responsibility on her, especially you dads out there. You dads out there put everything on your wife to take care of the kids. No, man. You have to step in and make those decisions. Speaking of decisions, you're not making all of the decisions. You make her make the decisions, which stresses her out. You're not protecting her from yourself. You're not stopping her from having that 5th glass of wine. You're not speaking up about the fact that she's eaten junk food the last 5 nights in a row. You're not telling her she can't go to happy hour after work with Kevin and Sales. Oh, but making her feel desired? Oh, you've got that down. You bought her the lingerie, you bought her the slutty heels, you bought her the naughty panties, but she doesn't wear them for you. Your woman is not relaxed, guys, and that's why she's not having sex with you. That's why she's acting like a man. That's why she's drinking every night. You cannot leave all the decisions to your woman, because eventually those decisions will start to overwhelm her. Making all those decisions will start to stress her out. And if she is stressed out, she's not relaxed. If you're going on a vacation, you plan it. Okay? Devin and I are going to Atlantic City, and I'll get into this a little bit later. We're going to Atlantic City next week. Okay? I handled everything. I took care of the transportation, where we're going, how we're getting there, what we're going to see, the schedule, everything. I did this so that she can turn her mind off and relax and enjoy the vacation. You ever seen a couple on a vacation and the woman is being an absolute bitch? She's not relaxed. She's always tense. It's because she planned the whole vacation, from the flight to the hotel to what the family's going to do when they're there. All of this is on her mind all the time. Then when he gets back home, he complains to his buddies that they didn't have as much sex as he thought. Of course you didn't. Your wife wasn't relaxed. Men expect their wives or girlfriends to work 8 hours, come home, cook dinner, clean up, do the dishes, do the laundry, help the kids with their homework and everything else around the house, and then be ready for a 2-hour fuckathon when she's done. That ain't how it works, players. I'm here to tell you. When Devin cooks dinner, every once in a while, I'll handle the dishes. And I tell her, listen, I'm not doing the dishes because this is some sort of tit for tat equal relationship. I'm doing the dishes because the less you have to do, the quicker I can get laid. Real talk, and she laughs at this. It has nothing to do with me being nice. It has nothing to do with any sort of chore play. No. I'm being selfish by removing any and all speed bumps that lead to sex. You guys see, listen, you guys see the stuff she wears for me. She does it all in bed, guys. You think she's doing this so she has to come home, hit up the gym, clean the house, walk the dogs, feed the dogs, do the dishes, make dinner, and then do the dishes again? No, she's tired. Women aren't robots, guys. They're human. Moreover, they can't handle anywhere near the same amount of mental and physical stress that we as men can. We talk all this shit about how women are inferior. They can't do this. They can't do that. They're mentally weak. We're physically stronger. And we're right. All of that is 100% true, but we can't have it both ways, guys. We can't call women inferior to men but then expect them to perform like men and then act like women again. It doesn't work that way. Once a woman starts acting like a man, she's not just going to all of a sudden, presto changeo, turn into a feminine woman. It's like these political idiots, and I don't usually get political here, but it's like these political idiots who made fun of how much of an idiot George W. Bush was because he's not as polished a public speaker as many of the past presidents, right? Barack Obama is the greatest speaking president we've ever had. George Bush, not so much. But then they want to say he masterminded 9/11. Like, he can't be, listen, Bush can't be an idiot and then orchestrate the worst terrorist attack on U.S. soil. Okay? Just like we cannot talk about how inferior women are, then expect them to go above and beyond the call of duty like men do. I have all of this stuff taken care of when she walks in the door. The house is clean, the dogs are walked and fed, the steak is thought out. I give her the luxury of coming home, taking a hot shower to unwind, and then maybe relaxing with a glass of wine to decompress while I'm sitting here prepping for tomorrow's show. And by the time I'm done with that, dinner's ready. She's wearing stripper heels and she is ready to drain my balls when I'm finished eating. And that is exactly why I do this. Again, let me reiterate. I don't do this because I believe in the bullshit notion of chore play. Dude, fuck that. No, I'm trying to make sure my girl is relaxed and not stressed out so she can drain these nuts at the end of the night like she should. Gentlemen, you guys have to do the same. If your wife stops by the grocery store, make things a little easier. Meet her outside so you can help her bring the groceries inside. Don't make her do it all. That's another speed bump. That's one more obstacle to sex. If your girl comes over to cook you dinners, dude, do the dishes, or at least rinse off the dishes to remove that speed bump. If you guys live together and you get home before she does, have the chicken thawed out. Have all of the ingredients prepped so all she has to do is cook, eat, jump in the shower while you do the dishes so she can come out and get naked as soon as possible. Be a control freak and plan your weekend getaways from start to finish. You book the hotel or the cabin. You book the Airbnb. You decide what restaurants you'll visit when you get there. You make the reservations. You plan the schedule for the weekend or the vacation, guys. No, you're not doing this to be nice. You're not doing this to be considerate. You're not doing this to show her that you want an equal partnership. You're not doing this so she can brag to all of her friends what a great guy he is. No, you are doing this to keep her relaxed. The more a woman is relaxed, the more likely she is to suck your dick on command. The more likely she is to throw on that slutty lingerie and surprise you with an after-dinner BJ and maybe some anal later on. The less there is on your woman's mind, the more she can focus on her job, which is pleasing and serving you. This isn't some feminist BS cloaked in red pill wisdom. No. This is how it is in 2019, guys. Women work now. They do more now. They're not home all day like they used to be. We as men, we can complain about it, or we can evolve with the times and adjust our approach to continue to get what we need out of our women. I don't do what I do for praise and accolades. I don't do this to show her what an awesome, considerate guy I am. I don't do this so Devin can brag to her friends what an awesome boyfriend Donovan is. Bless her heart, she says thank you all the time, and my response to her every time is, you can thank me later, and you know what I mean. And she always giggles. Listen, don't give me praise. Give me some booty. Don't give me accolades. Give me ass. I need my dick sucked. I need these balls drained. I need to get laid. I don't need all the thank yous. Yeah, okay, I'm glad I make your life easier. And it's all well and good that you acknowledge that by telling me thank you. But understand this, sweetheart. This is a means to an end, baby girl. Don't thank me with your words. Thank me with your mouth slathered in red lipstick and giving me candy cane dick. That's how you can thank me. If you do your job as a man, which is being in control of everything, keeping your woman relaxed and removing any and all speed bumps to sex, she will do her job by cooking for you, taking care of your needs, and giving you sex whenever and however you want it. It really is that simple. Guys, I'm going to be taking some time off to recharge my batteries here over the next couple of weeks. Like I mentioned earlier, Devin and I are going to take a couple of vacations. We're taking 2 vacations starting next week. I am going to be off the air all next week. Okay, so there's no TSR Live next week. We're headed to Atlantic City to do some gambling, do some fine dining, maybe get a massage. Maybe she'll give me a massage in the room. Happy ending. Maybe catch a show or two. And then a couple of weeks after that, we're headed down to the Florida Keys for a few days. We're going to go down and lay on the beach and enjoy the sun, maybe a few cocktails. So I'll be off all next week. Then I will be back on the air on Monday, July 29th, the 30th and 31st. Then I'll be gone for the rest of that week. So then finally on Monday, August 5th, 2019, I'll be back on the air full time, Monday through Friday at noon Eastern. I'll also be resuming my Sunday Q&A streams. Listen, you guys know I work my ass off. You do. And listen, trust me when I tell you I positively love doing what I do. If I'm keeping it all the way real, I didn't see this coming. This wasn't the plan, right? This started off as just a hobby to maybe help out never help out a few guys. Never in a million lifetimes would I have ever imagined I'd be doing this for a living. As much as I love helping people and doing my show, it is very, very hard work. Don't feel sorry for me, but it's very, very hard work. And it's time for me to take some time off to recharge my batteries, to sort of avoid the burnout here. Now, my patrons will still be getting that daily content 7 days a week. I'm still posting all my archive episodes from episode 1. I'm still posting all of the bonus content, all of the pictures, all the podcast episodes. So even though I won't be on the air too much over the next couple of weeks, there will be no shortage of content available to my patrons. If you want to continue to get my content and you're not a patron, guys, listen, $5 a day, less than 17 cents a day gets you access to my daily content. Okay, let's talk about two of the most ubiquitous ways that women like to lie. Guys, we all know women lie, and they lie a lot. And when we say this, that women lie to or around women, they never ever deny it. They just say, so do men. Kind of like my show a while back where I got a bunch of hate mail about the difference between a mother and a mom. Had a bunch of women, hit me up. Well, there's a difference between a father and dad, and they're right. Well, the difference is that the narrative is already in the mainstream. Absentee fathers have been getting publicity since way back in 1992 when Bill Clinton was making a campaign promising to crack down on deadbeat dads, and the term deadbeat dad became a regular part of the vernacular when it came to family courts, parental laws, and all the rest of that. Guys, bad moms don't get a bad rap. In fact, they get movies made about them, like the movie entitled Bad Moms and the sequel. So when these women squawk about bad dads in response to that particular show, it just confirmed that I hit them right in the truth. Right? I hit them right in the truth with that argument. And the only argument they could use is, well, men do it too, and they do it worse. But let's get back on track here. Yes, men lie, but women are much better at it, and they've evolved over the years, and they have perfected lying. Now, the reason for this is because men are now aware of the most standard go-to methods that women have been using to lie to us for years, but thanks to the internet, men have wised up. As a result, women have had to evolve and change and perfect the skill, meaning they had to find other ways to lie. Now, you guys know that I've had good experiences, I've had bad experiences, and even some dangerous experiences with many different women. But one of the advantages to all of my experience is that I have seen and heard many variations of many different lies. I'd like to think that I was aware I was being lied to most of the time, but I know I've been lied to more times than I realized. Guys, we all have. It is very difficult for anyone to get away with lying to me or get over on me, but it does happen occasionally. I'm not going to lie. I mean, my bullshit detectors are the best there is, but that doesn't mean a lie or two doesn't slip through the cracks every once in a blue moon. But by and large, it's very hard to deceive a guy like me. Being lied to is never a good thing, but a silver lining is that you learn how to recognize certain ways, different ways that women lie to you, learning how to recognize the circumstances in which they lie to you, which also helps you to recognize an attempt at deception. Unfortunately, a lot of our enlightenment comes long after we find out what the real truth is, and she, your girlfriend or wife, has taken her pound of flesh, but it is still a lesson learned nonetheless. So what I've done is I've come up with a few of the most diabolical strategies that women use the most when lying to their boyfriends or husbands. Here's one. Quote, I confessed, but at least I was honest. Stay with me here. This is a lie that I have experienced many, many times, and I didn't start to recognize it until a few years back. The way this works, guys, is that your girlfriend, your wife, your side chick, your fuck buddy, whoever, comes to you and tells you something to this effect. Well, actually, just your girlfriend or wife. People, you're in a committed relationship. They tell you something to this effect. Hey, I ran into my ex at the mall yesterday, and all we did was talk. It was a very short conversation, and we went our separate ways, but I wanted to be upfront with you and tell you that I saw him because I don't like keeping things away from you. And even if you get mad about it, she can fall back on with, hey, at least I was honest and told you about it. I could have not said anything. And at that point, you fall back. Now, men who aren't aware of this strategy not only think that his woman has done him a favor by admitting she had an interaction with her ex, he actually thinks he can trust her now. Because in his mind, not only did she tell him about running into her ex without having to ask her or quiz her on her whereabouts, she told him about it even though she didn't have to. He's thinking he can definitely trust her now because she was honest about something she didn't have to be honest about. She told him something that he would have never found out about. He told her something, or she told him something he could have never found out about, but because of her perceived faithfulness and fidelity, he trusts her now more than ever. That particular situation happened to me a few years back when I was casually dating this chick. Almost word for word, and even as a red pill aware male at the time, I still bought her story. Now, part of the reason is that even though I liked her a lot, I was seeing another chick at the time, so I wasn't really concerned, right? But it did make an impression on me, so I started to give her a little bit more of my time and attention. Well, a few weeks later, out of nowhere, she tells me her and her ex are getting back together, and they're going to give it a try, which means she was already sleeping with him by the time she told me. All women do this, guys. It's their MO. That story about running into her ex at the mall, it was more than that. And because she told me without me having to ask her, I bought that was all there was to the story. The point is, guys, is that this chick lulled me into a false sense of security by making me believe that I could trust her because she told me something she didn't have to, right? She told me something she didn't have to without me quizzing her on it. I never found out what really happened at the mall, but knowing women like I do, it wasn't just a short conversation. That interaction was likely the beginning of them getting back together. She knew it as soon as she saw him. And for all I know, that story that she made up might have just been a complete lie. I mean, for all I know, she may have been sleeping with him before she even confessed about this interaction between them and just wanted to lay the groundwork for when she told me that they were getting back together. And to her credit, it worked. I had no inkling that she and her ex were getting back together. I thought they just coincidentally ran into each other, exchanged pleasantries, said their goodbyes, and kept it moving. Obviously, that was not the case. Now, on the funnier side, Devin has actually done this to me on occasion, right? She'll say, Donovan, I had a slice of butter bread at work and I felt guilty about it, but I wanted to tell you and be upfront with you. But it wouldn't surprise me if I found out that she had butter bread, a chicken quesadilla, which is one of her favorite foods, and a bagel. Now, she won't admit that now, but you know, Sundays are our weigh days. And if she gains weight, that's when she'll confess and tell me what she really had. She'll tell me the entire truth, right? And it better not be, I had a chicken quesadilla and 2 slices of pizza every day. Obviously, I say that in jest because she knows I don't tolerate that kind of deviation in her diet, but the concept is the same. She proactively told me a very small part of the truth to hide the rest of the real truth. Gentlemen, understand this one immutable truth. Women never, and I mean never, volunteer disparaging information about themselves unless it benefits her in some way. And it's usually because she is trying to divert you from finding out the whole truth. So if your girl comes out of the blue and admits something to you, guys, you can bet the family jewels there is more to the story than that, and that she's just telling you that to throw you off the scent. Women never tell you the whole story, especially when they volunteer information. Never forget that. Here's another way that women like to lie. I call the that's not 100% true lies. Stay with me. A buddy of mine in Reno was dating this girl. He was 27, she was 22. Both very good looking people. He was an above average shape, great looking guy. She was really hot. She was like an 8.5, 9, big boobs. And her youth didn't, and she had big boobs, and because she was young, her tits didn't sag, right? Big, perky boobs, beautiful face, great body, dark brown hair. She was hot. So anyway, I remember a while back when I was in Reno, he calls me up and says he's ready to be done with her. He suspected that she may have been cheating, but he couldn't prove it. But he said he was going with his instincts and wanted to end it before the shit really hit the fan. So we meet up at this casino. We had a few drinks, and he's telling me about the times that he had quizzed her on her whereabouts, who she was with, what she was doing, etc. Like all women do, they lie and say, I was with a friend, or I was here or there, or I didn't have my phone, or my phone died, blah, 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 blah. Now, at this point, I was starting to get bored because I hear these stories all the time, right? Nothing a woman does surprises me anymore. So I'm sitting there with a friend. He's telling me the same story that other friends have told me again and again. You get numb to that. You get bored. You start paying more attention to the game, maybe on TV at the bar. So he continues and says something to this effect. He says, I put 2 and 2 together. Then I'd confront her and I'd tell her what I thought she was up to, and she always denied it. Again, nothing new there. Girls never admit when they're cheating. But then he said this to me. He said, and every time I brought this stuff to her attention, she'd say, hook me up to a lie detector test, and I'd pass it. I'm telling you, that's not what happened. So then he responded with, well, what did happen? And she'd respond with what we now know to be fake anger and outrage and hurt, and say, well, not that. And because he didn't want to upset her further, he would just drop it. So I asked him, well, what did you think happened? Then he tells me what he thought happened, and he did it with great detail, like with timeline and everything. And I said to him, this is awfully detailed, dude. Are you sure about this? And then he took out his phone and showed me screen grabs of their text conversations and her postings on Facebook. Essentially, guys, he was cross-referencing what their interactions were with her Facebook postings to come up with a timeline and what she was doing and all the rest of that. Now, as a side note, we know Facebook can't be trusted, as I talked about, Jesus Christ, way back in episode 83. How girls are now helping each other cheat. You guys definitely need to check out that episode. If you want to know how far women go to cover up their cheating, how diabolical they really are, guys, it's going to blow your mind. And I'm not even close to exaggerating. Episode 83, it'll be on my Patreon in a few weeks. Anyway, so he gives me this detailed series of events. And I said to him, dude, there's no way she can deny this. I said, this is like a DA's case against an accused murderer. And he says, yeah, I know, but she always denies that it's true. And then it hits me. When he confronted her with this, there was so much detail. All she had to do was find one part of his accusation that wasn't completely accurate. And that's what gave her the confidence to deny the whole story and even take it one step further and say, strap me to a lie detector. So for example, let's just use an example. Let's say you suspect your girlfriend of cheating and catch her in a lie. Let's say she's going to one place, but you find out that she was somewhere else. Let's say she told you she was going to her friend's house. So you see on Facebook, she's at her friend's house, but a little bit later on, you see her drinking a latte on Instagram, right? Pay attention, guys. So when you see her again, you say, you lied to me. You said that you were going to your friend's house, but instead you went to Starbucks so you could meet up with Kevin. She'll tell you, nope, that's not what happened. And she will say it with all the confidence, knowing full well that she definitely cheated on you. What really happened, and pay attention, guys, what really happened is that she stopped by her friend's house for maybe 5 minutes. Then she went off to Pete's Coffee, not Starbucks Coffee, and met up with Kevin, who took her home and pounded her out. Now, some of you might be thinking, Donovan, he nailed her. He caught her in a lie. And you would be right. But here's where girls get out of this stuff. When he confronted her with facts, he says she went to Starbucks and not Pete's. And that's the opening she needs. Now, obviously, that's a detail that doesn't really matter because the greater point is that she cheated on him. But girls will use the fact that you got the coffee shop wrong as an excuse to deny the entire story and be confident about it, which makes you question whether or not your intel was wrong or that your instincts are messed up. Another way they do this is omission or addition. So using the same example that I just told you, you'll say, you lied to me. You said you were going to your friend's house, but you went and slept with Kevin instead. She'll deny the story because you left out her stop at the coffee shop. You could also say, well, you lied to me. You said you were going to your friend's house, but you probably stopped there to get condoms and then went to Starbucks so you can meet up with Kevin. Again, she'll deny it because Kevin had the condoms. She didn't have to go get them. The point is, your woman will always deny wrongdoing if you confront your woman with what you think happened because she'll find something, a word, a phrase, your tone of voice, anything she hears that technically makes the story factually inaccurate, at which point she can say, nope, that's not what happened, and then go home and take a shower to wash all the cum off and out of her. Even if you said you lied to me, you said you were going to your friend's house, but you didn't stay long, so you can go to Pete's Coffee, meet up with Kevin and Sales, she'll still deny it because Kevin wasn't at Pete's. Kevin was in the parking lot waiting on her to text to let her know that she was on her way out. You see how girls do this? When you suspect that your girl is up to something, guys, there's no point in confronting her with what you think happened in terms of this series of events because she'll always find a way to make your version of events technically unfactual. I didn't say untrue. I said technically, factually inaccurate. And that's the margin girls will cheat in. The only way to confront your girl on something like this is to say, you said you're going to a friend's house. Now, I wasn't there, so I didn't know what happened. I wasn't there, so I don't know what happened, but I know what didn't. And that's not all that happened, and I know you're keeping something from me, and leave it at that. You guys are never, ever going to know the truth. You're never really going to know what happened. And when you throw around accusations and theories, you are opening up yourself to further deception. Do what my buddy did and just hit the eject button, man. Just because you didn't get 100% of the story correct doesn't mean she's not sleeping around. And men here know that if there's any chance she's cheating, you know she probably is. That's going to do it for this edition of TSR Live. For those of you just joining us, like I said, I'm going to be off all next week. I'll be back on the air on July the 29th, July 30th, and 31st. So I'm going to be off all next week. Then I'll be on the air Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of the week after next. Then I'll be off for the rest of that week because I'll be headed to Florida. I'm headed to Atlantic City next week, headed to the Florida Keys the week after next. And then finally on Monday, August 5th, I will be back on the air full-time Monday through Friday at noon Eastern to do TSR Live. I'm very, very much looking forward to this vacation and this time off. Now, here's the thing, guys. I'm still going to be, I don't know, maybe I'll pull up my phone and do maybe 10 or 15-minute live streams from Atlantic City, maybe from the Florida Keys, maybe do a little bit of, maybe answer viewer questions, just short little videos like that. But I am not going to be, over the next couple weeks, I'm only going to be in the studio 3 times to do a show. If you're a patron, like I said, going to be no shortage of content. You're still going to be getting that daily content 7 days a week. The archive, the pictures, the posts, audio, video, things of that nature. So you guys are there's never going to be a shortage of content there. Thank you guys very, very much for watching, and I will see you guys a week from Monday. Have a good weekend.